Greetings, everybody. This is Serpentine451 here, and welcome to another episode of Weeb Warriors. Since at this point in time, and since everyone else is in different time zones, Jordan cannot join me, and since Jade hasn't seen everything, he's going to join me for the Otaku Soapbox question for this week, which will be much later. So it'll just be up to me to review all the shows that were out this week. I think I shall start off with Master of Ragnarok, Blesser of Ithiljar, Master of Ragnarok. Anyway, what I'll basically say about this episode is the preamble for the war between the Wolf Clan and the Lightning Clan. And it's also a bit of a mixing of Lyanna wanting to actually step up her relationship with Yuto, our protagonist. And Yuto basically telling her point blank that she cannot sway his affections because he's in love with someone else, which is the girl from our time. But this doesn't deter her in this episode. We also get to know a little bit more about the skills that the twins have. Apparently, they can manipulate the winds and are good at gathering information. At least the purple-haired one is. Al, I think is her name. Then Christina is a secret assassin and badass, apparently. Although her sister has to basically provoke her and bully her into actually doing a said action. So yeah, essentially it's that episode. And also we get a little bit into Norfolk husbandry, which is what Yuto tried to use for the city that his clan went into, which prompted Lyanna to come visit him. But the townspeople didn't want to use this system because they couldn't understand it. So Lyanna had to basically say, hey, this is how it works, this is what we're going to do. Like, okay, cool, this is our patriarch, we'll listen to her. It's an okay episode. I was talking to Jordan with this because he had other things to do tonight. And he told me, and I agree with him on this, it showed promise, but it's not really going anywhere at this point in time, which I completely agree. Like we said last week, it is a very middle-of-the-road anime, and we're in media res, and we're not really sure what's going on exactly. But that's all I have to say about that show. Now let's go into Cells at Work. Cells at Work was very funny. I actually got caught up with that show. I'm sure Jordan and Jay will appreciate that. And in this, I might as well give my thoughts on the show itself. Like, everything that Jay and Jordan said last week about the show, they were completely right. This is a great show. It will teach you a thing or two about how the body works in the most entertaining way possible. And this particular episode's about what happens when you're hit with a particular kind of food poisoning that involves a parasite. And we get introduced to a new character who is a white blood cell that's weak when it compares to fighting bacteria and diseases and whatnot, but it's really good. She's really good at fighting parasites. But overall, this episode, much like the episodes before it, were very entertaining. They were very funny. I laughed out loud at a lot of them. And all the science terms I cannot say. It is ridiculous. I kick myself for not remembering a lot of these things here. And I will have to agree that fucking the platelets are the most adorable thing. I don't know what it is, but these things are so goddamn cute. It makes me go, aww. But the new character we got introduced to, and it's also tying into our topic this week, what Moe is to us. So essentially, I will call her the pink white blood cell, just so I can clarify. She has pigtails, and she basically goes through this character arc where she is unsure of herself, and when she fights the parasite, she kills the thing, and everyone cheers for her. Whereas beforehand, during the episode, before the parasite is revealed, they just jeer her and just call her pretty much useless compared to the actual the white blood cell character that we have. And this all takes place in the stomach, by the way, if I have to add here, since, yeah, it's food poisoning. It's in, they're going to focus on what's going on in the stomach. But this character just reacts to compliments in such a way that I'm like, yes, that's what I found adorable. The most tsundere acceptance of anything pleasant, compliment-wise, that's where the comedy lies, and that's what I find the most adorable. It's just those traits, and she exhibited those traits. That's all I actually have to say, and what my opinion of the entire series so far is, like I said, it's very funny, it's very entertaining. I actually found it very interesting, like how the body works. And next week's episode is primarily going to focus on allergies, mostly pollen allergies. So all of us who suffer from those from time to time, well, we're going to have a fun time with that. Next show on the list will be My Hero Academia. So that's episode 54 overall. And this is going into the provisional exam arc still. And we get to see more of Cammy and how her quirk works. And plus, Deku explains how the Iron Souls on his boots work. And since he's not fully using his powers because it breaks his body when he actually uses it at 100%, he's just using the souls to kind of counteract and use things in such a use them in such a way where he doesn't have to use 100% of all for one, or one for all. Sorry, but the cool things about that, we get to see anime exclusive, like anime only stuff. When it comes to Todoroki's side of things, and then next week's episode is going to be a little bit of anime original and mixed with manga stuff, which will be really cool. Plus, I know most people in the comments are going to just talk hypely about Cammy here, and with what's going on with her actually in this arc, I cannot wait to see the end result of that, and anime only are going to have their minds blown when that scene happens. But anyway, we also get to see Yarashi use his quirk, and this man is a beast, taking out 120 people and being the first one to actually pass the exam. That was a really cool moment. And then we have Deku just saying, hey, I know these things about Uraraka. You're not really Uraraka, aren't you? When he actually saved her, knowing that, hey, she could use her quirk to actually save herself. Because there was a moment where Deku thinks Uraraka was about to fall off of a cliff while facing off against other students. And then he put two and two together. And that's how we found out about Cammy's glamour quirk and how it functions. So it was really cool. And it was really funny that Sero got jealous at Deku for actually fighting a girl who's practically naked. And plus the weird censorship, whereas in the manga she was completely naked. And then that's why Sero was so jealous, but I can understand that in the anime they don't want to like show that stuff because these are teenage characters, and we don't want to do that. So yeah, I completely understand where people are coming from with that. There, no complete nakedness. I am sorry, but all in all, I really liked and enjoyed this episode. And I liked this stuff with Todoroki fighting a whole bunch of ninja. One of them having the quirk that manipulates the size of metals, or just manipulating size of objects, which is really cool. And how this guy basically says that, hey, all of these things I'm throwing at you, which are basically nails and bolts are essentially made out of tungsten, which reacts to high temperatures. So they thought, oh, we could fuck with your fire, dude. But I really enjoy reading the manga and also watching the anime and having this arc in particular. I've read through this arc. I really enjoy that kind of perspective. Like, I'm following along as the series progresses at this point, because even though I'm going to read backwards to see how little things have changed in the previous arcs, but I'm at the most, not the most recent arc, but the arc that precedes this, that comes after this one. I'm reading into that one, and that by far is crazy. I cannot wait to see that stuff animated. But that's all I have to say about My Hero Academia. Then let's go into Angels of Death, where we primarily focus on the new floor, which is modeled after a prison, and then we meet Kathy, who is the master of this floor, and she is a sadistic prison warden that has a bunch of puzzles in her prison for Rachel to solve. And for some reason, which we don't know yet, we probably will know in next week's episode, the reason why she wants to kill Rachel, and she basically calls Rachel and Zach criminals, which is very interesting in that way. And her mindset is that since she's a prison guard or prison warden, she wants to punish criminals who have sinned. And we get to see the extent of how far she's going to go when in the first part of the episode, where she activates a Gatling gun. Well, yeah, a big fucking machine gun or a Gatling gun, and our two protagonists actually had to dodge a rain of bullets. And then Zach, the crazy man that he is, decides to just sit down in an electric chair, whereas he gets trapped in it, and Kathy shocks him in order to solve this particular puzzle and to keep Zach from getting killed by constant electric shocks. Rachel had to solve the puzzle in order to save him, which is essentially just cut down all the eyes viewing this supposed execution. And so the episode pretty much ends where they're in the middle of another puzzle, and it looks like Rachel's on the verge of death because there is a bunch of poisonous gas that's being filtered into the room. So the show itself is a very intriguing mystery show. I thought it looked creepy on the onset, which I think is kind of the impression that they're trying to evoke here. I'm very curious about the show in general, and I'm waiting to see if my theory is possibly correct. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Angels of Death. And I might as well give my 2 cents on how we're kind of received. I haven't seen episode 4. I will catch up on it, but there is a high chance that I may not watch this show because I may be watching constant anime just in a good succession before we start the show. That's what I try to do anyway, because I want to make sure I'm on top of things and I remember everything. But this show is pretty dull at times, even though you get to see female characters play beach volleyball, which probably would be enticing, but my initial impression is that the show is good. It is good, but it's boring as shit. I'm sorry to say, but it's boring as shit. But it's actually kind of funny to see 2 cousins interact with each other and have them face off against Naomi and her partner at first, and have that revenge match. That was nice. And then having the facing off against the twins, who are Americans. That was really cool and entertaining. Being introduced to those characters, that was fun. Episode 4 looked like it was going to be a pretty good episode, but to me, the show, like I said, is pretty dull. But maybe that's just me trying to watch anime consistently and just getting pretty tired of it, because it was a good few hours of watching anime. Let's see. Oh, and now the last show I'm going to be talking about until we get to the Otaku Soapbox, that being How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Well, to continue with the cliffhanger of the previous episode, we have Georg, who is a fallen that snuck into the city in order to kill Rem so the Demon Lord can be set free again. And he used the body of one of the Magi to pretty much to pull this through. He basically kicks the shit and kills a lot of adventurers and beats the shit out of Emil, which Emil, he pulls through like nobody's business. He stands his ground against this monster because women were in danger, and he is the defender of women. Like, Emil, I respect you, man. Very chivalrous. Meanwhile, Diablo and Shiera are, well, mostly it's Diablo faces off against Edelgard. And Edelgard is the fallen commander that he's fighting against. She uses a skill that does damage him, but not by much. And he uses a skill called White Nova to basically eradicate her forces and knock her out. And so when they get a message that Rem and Celeste are being attacked by a fallen, he gets into gear and returns to the city and just kicks the shit out of this monster. Georg had no chance against our boy, who was at a level 150. He's like, fucker, you're using these spells? These are weak compared to what I can do. And so he kills the dude, basically traps him in another dimension full of darkness. And since he used too much MP, he's like, I'm tired of shit. It's 10 days later, and Shiera's trying to seduce him. Rem's trying to do the same thing. And then the end of the episode, he basically has to go on another quest to basically stop a war with the elves. Oh, this will be fun and exciting. I cannot wait to see what happens in this episode. This show in particular is very funny. I am enjoying this more than Master of Ragnarok, even though something at the onset, Master of Ragnarok was interesting. But How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is the much superior show, and both of them are pretty average harem anime in the grand scheme of things. So, I am going to now let our buddy Jay know that it's time to head over to the Otaku Soapbox and let him know that I'm ready. Let's see here. Oh, looks like there is another event that's happening. Okay. And, oh, good lord, there's a lot of crap here. Yeah, definitely a lot of crap. But anyway, while we wait for Jay, I will have to point this out to you. Tomorrow, I am going to be posting a few new videos, another entry into Fate Index, introducing another show, well, 2 new shows that I'll be having on the channel. Hopefully 3, but that won't come until maybe a couple more Tuesdays. But I'm introducing Secrecy and Fate Codex. And Fate Codex is similar to Fate Index, but instead of talking about servants, I'm talking about the masters of certain servants. And a Fate Codex episode will happen to correspond with a particular servant. And I'm going with Fate Grand Order. And since I'm doing a caster, I find it very fitting that the second arc that's currently going on in Japan in Grand Order, which is Cosmos of the Lost Belt, I'm going to be doing one of the cryptors and their servant for that particular lost spell. So look out for that. And then Idiosyncrasy is basically a show where I talk about some of the things that I notice in anime that are primarily connected to a certain show. Like episode 1's actually going to be talking about a show that I saw recently that I found really funny and also finding like some serious moments to it. This is kind of an initial idea that I had for a show for my channel years ago that I wanted to do, that I've always wanted to do, but I never thought of a good title for it. The placeholder title was called Thoughts on Anime, but Idiosyncrasy, and using kind of the name convention, it's basically anime and its idiosyncrasies. And the show that I'm going to be doing for the inaugural episode of Idiosyncrasy is Nanbaka, and how it uses references to not only Japanese folklore and mythology and Shintoism, but also Journey to the West in a lot of ways, and just nice allusions to like those aspects in the setting of a prison comedy. What do you know? So that's on the docket for tomorrow. Hopefully I can have... I'm still working on the Harem Chronicles. It's going to take quite a bit of time. I'm also going to introduce another segment on the show where I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite RPG series, Persona, and where I'm going to have characters face up, party members of every character within the series, from Persona 1 to 5, and have them face off against each other. What I used to do many years ago on this channel with Superhuman Face Off, I'm actually going to be reintroducing that, but focusing it primarily on Persona characters in a Persona setting, kind of alluding to a lot of the things that, well, what they've done with Persona 4 Arena. And I thought, okay, this is cool. And I'm going to take initially the characters, their personalities, their personas, both their initial and ultimate personas, into consideration, their arcanas, which also ties into their personality, and also what weapons they have. And also to make it fair, certain characters will only have access to certain weapon types to correspond with their opponent. So look out for that. I might post the first episode because I actually worked on the first matchup for that show. But you'll have to wait till that for that to come in to find out who these particular who the characters that are facing off against, who the two characters are. But anyway, boy, Jay is taking his sweet time. Alrighty. Just asking if he's ready. But anyway. I'm also rewatching another show that I've saw before. Well, in my years of watching anime. That would be Okami-san and Her Seven Companions. Which is a good show, and it uses fairy tales and folklore to its full effectiveness, which is another episode, future episode of Idiosyncrasy. And you know, my channel's basically focusing things that come out of Japan, and you're probably asking, since I used to do a lot of videos on comic books and whatnot, why haven't I done that in a long time? Well, to be honest with you, I will be getting back into reviewing things just in general. And hell, I will go back to reviewing Marvel and DC stuff. I'll be reviewing the Marvel movies at some point. This is basically the end of the end of the show mark, but just not necessarily true. So I might be doing reviews of certain things that are in my bookshelf right now. I'll also be doing manga reviews, kind of the style of what we do for Weeb Warriors, but with a friend of mine named Jeffrey. And I haven't decided on what manga to review for the first episode, but that will come in time. And he's looking forward to it, because I was thinking about doing something like I do with Weeb Warriors with Jay and everyone. Well, with Jay and Jordan. But I want to do something with manga. And Jeffrey pointing out to me, like, hey, I want to actually do something like you do with Weeb Warriors, but with manga. And I want to join in, like, his exact message was, the exact words he said, but with your much cooler than me friends. I'm like, I said to myself, I'm like, come on, dude, you're pretty cool. So I thought, you know, dude, I'll get back to you on that. And I'm thinking, I have an idea of what manga to do, but I need to bring in this to his attention. And me being the complete fanboy, it might be a Fate manga. I haven't decided if I'm going to do this yet, but I've also been reading a lot of manga too. So, all in all, I have actually been enjoying making videos again. And I gladly thank Jay for bringing me out of retirement, essentially, and just finding that initial passion that I had for making videos. Like, when I was 15 and started video production class back in high school, this was something that I always enjoyed. And for me, wanting better quality videos, making content that I'm proud of. And as of right now, I'm not necessarily happy with the way I'm making content. But as long as I'm getting people who are supporting my videos, I have friends that are encouraging my videos, that's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things, at least to me. I can always make better content in the future. And that's all I can say about it. And plus, with new things going on in my life, I'm just going to truck along as best I can. And that's all I can say about that. But to those of you who are watching at home, or watching it live, or watching it post-live, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because after many years of just doing nothing but working and focusing on what I need to get done, it's always good for me to actually just let my hair down, so to speak, and just do the things that I used to find enjoyable, and which is making videos. And plus, I might also want to talk about some other passions in my life in my videos, like talk about music, talk about musicals, talk about the things that I just enjoy. And plus, this is a all-inclusive nerd channel. And just to go back to my initial roots of just doing just doing reviews of movies, TV shows, because I'm going to be doing just personally for me, I'm going to be doing a review of Disenchantment when that comes out, because that comes out on my birthday. And I cannot wait to actually have fun with that. And plus, I'm going to have fun on my birthday. With all that, I do want to thank you guys. Seriously, I do. And plus, you have a lot of stuff to look forward to, usually on Tuesdays, because in my new videos on Tuesdays might be every other Tuesday, depending on my mood or what I'm doing on that particular Tuesday. I might also, if the need arises or the gumption is actually there, I'll be posting videos on Tuesdays. So it'll be like in bulk videos on Tuesdays and then Weeb Warriors on Mondays. So that's my initial schedule right now. And I hope you guys actually enjoy the videos that I'm going to be producing. I'm trying to put forth a lot of work and effort into my videos. And that's what I've been doing. Well, what I've been trying to do since I started making videos. But anyway, Jay will be here in a few So, and I don't feel like I should be stalling to keep your guys' attention, but that's kind of what I have to do here. And essentially, I might as well go into my thoughts of the manga that I'm reading, because I'm reading a lot of manga. And I just enjoy reading everything that I have been. Like, oh, I've read the manga adaptation of Fate Strange Fake, that's enjoyable. I'm also playing Fate Grand Order. I'm playing through the summer event right now. I have yet to roll a summer servant because 4 and 5 star servants, especially the summer ones that are going to be limited, I'm not probably going to have the chance to get them. I'm just going to have to pray to the gods to actually give me that, because I guess all my luck was pretty much spent on getting Jeanne d'Arc, who is a 5-star ruler class servant, twice in a row. I'm like, God damn it. Why can't I have better things? Like, Jeanne d'Arc is awesome. She's a great character. But I want other things too. I'm still waiting on Ozymandias, and the game hasn't given him to me yet. It makes me sad. It destroys my soul. I don't know why you're keeping him away from me, Delightworks and Night Moon. Why do you do this to me? Also, learning about the summer event in Japan, even though it's a retread of a previous event, they're going to be doing another one. I'm guessing it's just going to be another gacha. That includes Ushiwakamaru, Ibaraki Doji, Jeanne d'Arc, finally, Robin Hood, Gilgamesh, and Edmond Dantes, which, okay, cool. We actually get male summer servants this time around. All right, bet. So, from what everyone's been guessing, because the classes haven't been revealed for these summer servants yet, and from the looks of it, Jeanne d'Arc may be a writer. That would be pretty cool. And also, rarities haven't been unveiled for these particular summer servants either. And look who actually came in. Jay is here. How's it going, Jay?
What's up, Tony?
I've just been talking to our audience here about some of the things that are going to be coming out tomorrow for me video-wise, because I'm going to actually be introducing a new show on my channel. Well,
cool.
Actually, well, one coincides with another one that I'm doing, but one's going to be a completely different one.
Oh, nice. What is it? Oh, what are they?
One's called Fate Codex, which mostly focuses on masters throughout the Fate series, but I'm only doing that to correspond with a servant that's a master-servant pair.
Okay, cool. What's the other one?
One is called Idiosyncrasy, which is basically a portmanteau of anime and idiosyncrasy, where I basically talk about animes, like little fun details that I picked up on.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so soapbox time?
Yes, exactly. Jordan had other things to take care of, so I pretty much reviewed all the shows already.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't watched anything, so I couldn't really contribute anything, so I figured I'll come on during the soapbox.
Yeah, which I will have to say, I know you liked her kind of received, but I will have to be honest with you, man. It's boring as shit to me.
Really? I don't know. I like it. I like it, but then again, I have a way higher tolerance for sports anime. But
well, for me, I just find it boring as shit, and not enough cute girls is gonna keep my focus.
So okay, so what do you find boring about it? Just curious.
It's just maybe it's a pacing thing for this, because I don't watch that many sports anime.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say it follows the basic sports anime structure, but yeah, if you're not used to sports anime, then I can understand how that feels slow.
Watching it consistently, that's when I was like, man, this is dull as shit.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if I pace myself while watching, I'm like, okay, this will get exciting. I enjoy it, but I just find it boring, but I enjoy it at the same time, as paradoxical as that sounds.
No, I get what you mean.
But anyway, so what is Moe to us is the soapbox topic.
Yeah, so this is something I came up with after seeing a couple videos about just kind of talking about moe in general, and those two videos are one from Jeff Du on Mother's Basement about Konosuba and the worst girls, and how he brings up kind of the appeal of them of the Konosuba main cast, and the other one is actually like a mini documentary, or not a documentary, but like a mini kind of video essay that Giguk did on the Moe Revolution and kind of the appearance of Moe, what's defined Moe over the years, and like why Moe is such an integral part of anime today. And an interesting point he brings up is Moe is actually something that we, as anime fans who came up during the Western boom in the 90s, actually saw the rise of, and now the permanent integration of moe into anime as a whole. So I think that's really interesting. And I don't know, moe to me is kind of it can be like a wide variety of things. Of course, the most general definition of moe is just something that you find cute, but also moe to me can mean like a character that you are very protective over, that you like want to shield from the world because they're just such an innocent little cinnamon roll, and you don't want anyone to hurt them. For example, last season we had Kaos-chan and Anzu, both super moe, but I am not attracted to at all because they're little girls.
That's right. And they're more like character traits, or, and in my case, character archetypes that I find very moe.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I like tsunderes. I like the tsundere archetype because there's a lot of moe moments that you can have with a character like that.
Exactly. There's like tsunderes especially encourage this kind of playfulness because they do the whole like pretend not to like you, but they really like you. And I don't know, it's a lot more satisfying earning a blush from a tsundere than say like a yandere or a dere dere or a...
Oh yeah, most definitely, because Cells at Work's most recent episode actually introduces another character, since this episode deals with what happens with food poisoning in this world.
Yeah.
And how it involves a parasite in this particular... I forget the actual name of this character, but she is a white blood cell, but not really a white blood cell in the most pure sense.
Interesting.
But she wears like a lot of pink, and she carries like a pike, like a polearm weapon.
Oh, cool.
And she kills this parasite, and throughout the entire episode, she gets jeered like, oh, she's weak as shit. She can't even kill like germs and whatnot by all the other cells. And when this parasite rolls in and everyone can't take it down, she's like, I have my mission. This is what I'm going to do. She kills the thing.
Nice.
And someone starts praising her, and that's like, yes. And she blushes. She actually feels like, oh, this is nice to actually get compliments.
But yeah, like, and another thing that's very moe is like, speaking of Cells at Work, just like the adorable factor of the platelets, man. Those platelets.
Oh my god! Why do you have to invoke such cuteness and make me question? Like, there's some things like, why do you have to make me go, oh, every time I see like adorable things happen?
Like, what's funny? A lot of times with anime, I get mad when anime points stuff out loud, like says out loud that, oh, it's so cute. I'm like, don't tell me it's cute. Let me decide for myself if it's cute. But in the case of Cells at Work, it would have been weird if they didn't acknowledge that how cute the platelets are, because God, they're so fucking cute. It's just like, how can you not? You melt inside every time you see them because they're just so adorable.
Yeah, and as someone who has primarily been raising kids that are not my own,
yep,
whether it's younger siblings or my nephew, I just have this. I have this feeling where it's a very parental view of things. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, that's just adorable.
that's pretty much the same with me. It's either my younger brothers or my niece, and it's just like, yeah, I get when kids do cute stuff, I can't help but be like, oh.
And that's kind of the response that it's kind of since it's you and I have a very similar view when it comes to moe stuff, though.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand why again why someone like Jordan isn't a fan of isn't a fan of moe in particular when it's just straight up moe, because sometimes just straight up moe you can't handle too much cute at one time. You got to be built for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you. It's pretty much comparable to like cancer or diabetes. You're not.
Yeah,
Really...
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like it's like how some people just don't have a sweet tooth. Like some people can like eat like a ton of ice cream or a bunch of chocolate and not be affected by it, and others like they eat too much chocolate and they vomit. Like it's the same kind of analogy basically.
Yep. But all in all, that's exactly how it happens.
Yep.
But
so, what are some of your favorite examples of moe? I know we talked about the platelets. Of course, like one of my default go-tos with moe is still one of my all-time favorite shows. The goddess of moe herself, the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, and of course Mikio. That is actually the first time I ever remember hearing the word moe used in an anime was Haruhi, because Haruhi specifically said when they formed the SOS Brigade, we need someone extremely moe, and she's like, moe is key in order for this club to succeed. And then she finds Mikio, who is just extremely adorable, and she forces her into all these outfits, the bunny girl outfit especially. And it's just like,
yeah, I remember that.
And she's cute, and it's just like, no, I can't. You're right. Yeah, okay.
Like, well, some of these, for me, it's always connected to like another archetype of sorts. Like some things, when it comes to moe, for me personally, it's connected to archetypes. Like when a character does cute things, either outside or within their archetype, it's like, yes, that's just adorable.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. It's not just design. I feel like it is also a thing. It also has to be connected to actions as well. Like definitely when the characters do things is what I feel like qualifies as moe. Like you can't just be cute and then call yourself moe. Like the platelets are moe because they have this little thing where they're walking up the steps and they're like hup 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 heave ho heave ho. And it's just
they're just so doing the jobs, and it's like, come on now, why do you do this to me?
Yeah, it's just it's so good. Like, man, really good stuff.
But and the point I'm trying to make here is that when tsunderes actually feel like they're getting complimented or they get embarrassed, that's the sweet spot where they actually just break their outer shell and become a bit more vulnerable. Like, okay,
those moments are always pretty satisfying when you see that little crack in the armor of a tsundere.
Oh yeah, that's always enjoyable to see that. And also, well, Darling in the Franxx didn't really have that many cute moments in it. But
I was gonna say, like, there weren't any there weren't many. I mean, I guess Ichigo kind of counts as a tsundere, but she's
no, she does not count as a tsundere. She's just a dumb hoe. Miku is tsunderes more than fucking Ichigo does.
Yep, that's true.
But the point I'm trying to make here is, well, here's another example that I want to fall back on here. I'm actually going to use My Hero Academia, for example, for a good example of moe.
All right, cool.
Remember, Jay, in the episode and in the manga where the girls are, after they were working on their finishing their ultimate moves, and they're just in the common area, just talking.
Oh, you're talking about the scene with Ochako, yeah.
That moment where she floats into the air because she's so embarrassed, like, okay, that is moe right there.
Yeah, when she's floating and then she sees Deku training outside, flipping through his book. And she
Yeah,
started blushing. Yeah, that was super moe.
yeah. You know what? A lot of the girls in My Hero Academia are just fucking moe as shit.
Right? Dude, that's why I love Yayarozu. Yayarozu is super fucking moe. I mean, I know, like,
It's the
uh,
Oto-sama archetype, and it's just her playing into that role, which and her actions connected to that role.
and bro, what's so moe about Momo? That's so weird to say, but what's so moe about Yayarozu is the fact that like how embarrassed she is because she's very socially inept because she's not used to like dealing with non-rich people. So like when she's like, yeah, so my man, so you can come to my mansion. I'll serve like this, standard four-course meal. They're like, four-course meal, but we're just having lunch and studying. Like, oh, is that not a thing you guys do? Oh, my bad.
Folk, dude. But also, here's another. Because I don't know if you watched this show when it was airing, Jay, but I watched it recently, and it's actually the topic of my first episode of Annual Secrecy. It's Nanbaka.
Oh, I love Nanbaka. It's so like fourth wall breaking referential. It's like
No.
Deadpool the anime.
And plus, Nanbaka has a lot of allusions, and like it alludes to a lot of Japanese and Chinese folklore in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you really look at it, like the story of Momotaro, for example, Momoko, the prison warden, is Momotaro. And then you have the three animal companions, the dog, the monkey,
The
and the pheasant.
pheasant and the yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the point I'm trying to make here is with Nanbaka is that our prison, or like our Ward 13 inmates in Cell 13, they have moments where their characterizations, like especially Nico, when he gets into his mood where like talks about anime and shit, I'm like, okay, I'm not homosexual, but I can find like girls can find that cute.
Yeah, you can understand how girls can find that. Yeah, exactly. No, I have those moments too. Like, yeah, I'm
But
comfortable enough with my masculinity to be like, okay, that is pretty adorable.
like the moments they elicit like a good reaction of Moe out of me, most of the time when it comes to that show is fucking a lot of the humor, specifically with Momoko, the warden.
Yeah.
Because the outside you see this tough, big booby bitch. She looks like she could kick your ass, and she can kick your ass. But on the inside, she's just a schoolgirl. She has a schoolgirl mindset with a crush on Hajime. And it's this juxtaposition, like, oh sweet Jesus, this is funny.
Yeah, love that. I love the contrast of like the classic contrast of the tough on the outside but marshmallow on the inside.
And every time she tries to show this more innocent side of herself to Hajime, she's either beating the shit out of somebody or trying to scare people, or her face basically betrays what she's feeling on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy gold, might I add. And also, it's the kind of moe where you feel warm and fuzzy and kind of sad for the character at the same time.
Yeah, because they're probably getting beat up. Mm-hmm.
No. You feel sorry for the character initiating the moe. It's like,
oh yeah, because they're not like it's the kind of like a misunderstanding type thing. Like they can't really.
Like Momoko's whole shtick in the show is basically, oh, she has a crush on Hajime. And every time he's about to come into her office, she tries to present herself respectively and hopefully might get the chance to hit on him in a different way. But one of the other supervisors just screws it up. Mostly it's Mitsuru, where she beats the shit out of him because he knows her true feelings for Hajime. And making him the announcer, that's comedy gold. Or she's just like looking like she's pissed off, but in actuality, she's just trying to restrain her true feelings from breaking.
Yeah, I really like that. That does kind of definitely elicit a reaction of moe to me.
And hell, some things are actually just quite entertaining when it comes to moe stuff. Like, you could basically say that Comic Girls is a personification of a lot of the things we find that are how we define moe, just as a whole. You know?
Yeah, because comic girls had that thing where you just really root for these characters and their growth. And the awe moments was when they bonded or they accomplished their goal. Like when I forget her name now, purple hair girl. Um
Uh, Rika.
yeah,
Rika.
Rika. Yeah. When Rika did her first signing, that was one of the biggest moments where I was like, "Oh, good for you!
And
Look at
then
you!
when you
You're doing
get
your thing!"
Tsubasa and Koyome's whole deals, like Tsubasa interacting with a fan for the first time. That was a
Mhm.
great moment. Koyome actually getting her manga published, even though it's before Chaos Chan. You get to see that moment for her. That
Yep.
was great. And then just Chaos Chan's whole progression at the end, and it's like, yes, that is a
Yeah, I really enjoyed that show, and especially as somebody who is a writer and is, hopefully trying to get his work out there. I really related to them, and I think part of Moe, a big factor of Moe is relatability. Is like you're able to connect that to something in your actual life. Like for example, you were talking like the whole reason, like we said before, like the whole reason we get the awe reaction out of the stuff with the kids is because both you and I have taken care of our siblings and nieces and nephews, stuff like that. So like we both have a soft spot for kids. So like that's why we get that kind of reaction from that type of moe.
And then we have Moe when it comes to like certain character traits, like
Mm-hmm.
personality traits, or the like that we just that elicit that same reaction. And then there's also the type that you're actually referring to, Jay, is where we can actually relate to the struggle that the characters are going through.
Yeah, and
And
also I think people confuse moe a lot with like being attractive, because like
exactly,
I don't see moe and sexiness as the same thing.
oh,
A lot
definitely,
of
I
people
agree with you
confuse
there. But
that.
it's like Moe, in my honest opinion, is supposed to elicit a reaction of warmth, of comfort,
Yeah,
where you
exactly.
don't have to feel like everything is just shit all the time. Where you can
Exactly.
watch
Moe,
the
yeah, Moe is more of a like Moe is like the Moe reaction versus like a like I'm actually attracted to you reaction is like Moe is more of I don't know how to describe it. You said it pretty well. Warmth. It's like a it's like this feeling of like yeah, like you're saying warmth and comfort, like where like it comes more from a place of innocence than like let's say your normal sexual attraction type to a character. Like
definitely,
you know what I
and
mean?
that's the big differentiation I think we can make here. And sure, a lot of people who have posted like made videos on the topic, they go into much broader detail about their thoughts and the history of how certain things are as they are today, like you did with Gigic and Mother's Basement. But with us, just guys just talking about anime that in this reviewer format, where we actually just display our thoughts just free and open, it allows
Yeah.
us to also kind of get our 2 cents out there in the world and kind of show us, like, hey, we may not have the greatest production value, but we also have our thoughts that we are willing to share and hopefully
Yeah,
add.
I feel like we get pretty well in depth and introspective, and I find it entertaining. I mean, granted, we're the ones making it, so of course
Oh,
I
no,
wouldn't be a part of this if I didn't find it entertaining, but you know
oh,
what I'm saying.
yeah, I get what you're trying to say here, and I try to like get other people to kind of respond, which we did get a response in our Darling in the Franks episode, which then it was live too, and I didn't notice it until the last minute, which I apologize for that still. Like, sometimes I don't notice these things. It's quite embarrassing. If my head wasn't attached to my
I mean,
shoulders, I would have
it is
lost it by
it's pretty difficult to monitor chat during the live shows, especially if you're not used to actually monitoring chat.
But and also as I was saying and touching in kind of coming from a good place, before you came on, Jay, I was talking about how nice it is to actually get back into the swing of things like I
Mhm.
used to back in the day,
Yep.
and how it's getting more views than I normally get. like when I was constantly making videos, it just makes me feel like, hey, I really appreciate the views that I'm getting.
Yeah,
I'm
and I mean
really
that's what I like, right? About like just going into a tangent about like being a YouTube creator in general. That's what I enjoy is just the fact that people watch what what I do and are willing to listen to what I have to say. And I mean, the kind of yeah, part of it's definitely like the business side where you have to pay attention to scheduling, analytics, tags, and all that stuff. Especially if you want to try and make this your job, like like I'm currently doing. Uh, but like a big portion of it, and I feel like this should be a thing for anybody who's on YouTube or any kind of platform like this, is you enjoy what you do. Like if I didn't like talking about anime, I wouldn't show up every week to talk with Tony and Jordan about anime.
Oh, definitely. And I would be back to what I was doing before Jay prompted me to make videos again. And plus, we here on Weeb Warriors really appreciate the views that we're getting here, which sometimes it's constant, sometimes it's not. I mean, what can you do? Especially with a schedule where we're up against some pretty tough competition, I might add.
Yep.
But all I can say is thanks, guys. Really.
Yeah, seriously.
Those who are watching and may not be commenting, we appreciate you actually watching the show. We actually go through a lot of effort to try to make sure we remember everything in these shows for you guys in our reviews.
Jordan takes extensive notes.
And I make sure to watch the show the day of the show so everything is fresh in my mind.
And I also make sure to especially for like My Hero Academia, because that's a show where I've read the manga of. I tend to go back and read the chapter beforehand to be like, oh yeah, so this is what happened in the manga, and so I can do comparisons and stuff. Which, by the way, this week's episode was great. Best girl Cammy showed up.
Oh, I can have your 2 cents, even though I know you review it on your channel, Jay, but it's good to have your 2 cents on the show here as well.
Yeah, I actually did not get to review it this week because I was busy this weekend, which is why I didn't get to watch it until like earlier this afternoon. But yeah, man, I loved this episode. Like I said, best girl Cammy arrives. Cammy is great. There is a twist later on that we find out about Cammy that I'm not going to spoil. It's connected to a character that I also really like.
Like, also, did you enjoy the anime exclusive scene with Todoroki and those ninjas?
That was pretty dope. I mean, anytime my man Todoroki gets to shine, it's always going to be, a plus in my book. Todoroki is my favorite character.
And I've read the chapters that basically cover the professional license arc. While I was reading that and seeing this episode just animate that particular chapter, I'm like, okay, I see what they did there. And now I want your thoughts on something that I came across before watching the episode, and when I watched it for myself, it didn't necessarily bother me because I can understand where the animators went for, go for it. It's that Cammy's quirk, when she initially used it, it was kind of censored.
A little bit, yeah.
Because the way I thought about it, like, sure, in the manga, she was completely nude, but you can't really do that with an anime unless it specifically does that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a kid's show, so I get it.
So I'm like, yeah, I can understand what they're doing with that initially, so no issue there.
Although I'd like to just mention again, and I've heard other anime YouTubers make this joke before, and it's actually painfully true. But it turns out that the most powerful females in My Hero Academia, their quirks are all connected to taking off their clothes. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, essentially that's true. All the male characters, they keep their clothes, but the girls who actually have to use their quirks, it's just
no. Because like if you look at Ochiko's battle against Bakugo in the sports festival, she took her jacket off.
Gone.
Yeah, Momo, her power is all about like, oh, let me just, you know what? Nah, okay, I need to create something huge. Let me take my shirt off real quick.
And Toru is basically just
naked all the time. She's naked all the time. That's why, like, Toru's nickname to like in the fandom is My Hero Academia's #1 hentai star because
Yeah,
she's
that's
literally
very
just
true.
walking around naked. I loved in the just going back a little bit. I loved during the what's not the hero license exam, but the end of term test when she's paired up with what's the
Uh,
arm the tail guy's name? Tail guy.
no, she's
Don't
actually
remember.
paired up with
She's paired
Shoji.
up with Tail Guy. I just don't
No,
remember Tail Guy's name. But yeah, she's paired up with Tail
Ojiro.
Guy.
Ojiro.
And yeah, Ojiro. Yeah,
She was
Ojiro.
paired up well, with the final exams. She was paired up with Shoji, and they were fighting off. They were fighting with Snipe.
Oh yeah. But I was talking about the scene where she's paired up with Ojiro and she's trying to sneak up. Like get intel. And so she's like, all right, so I'm gonna just take my clothes off now, and then like
Oh, you mean the
Ojiro,
arc beforehand where they basically did a mock battle where the
yeah, they
right,
fought the
yeah,
teachers.
I remember now.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was funny because again, Toru. A lot of people like root for Toru as best girl, and I get it. She has a huge moment in this arc. Like I said, it's pretty awesome. We haven't gotten there yet, but I can't wait to see it.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see it either. But man, we get to see Yarashi just use his quirk, and that fucker.
Yeah, man.
This man is
Like
strong.
it has a simple like premise to it, but it is devastating.
Yeah, this man is strong. You don't. I mean, this is a guy who could pretty much be on a higher level than Todoroki. And
Yeah,
even
I mean that's why he chose to go to the other school because he was like, nah, man, I'm better than you.
like, even though I like UA, I'm going to go to a different school and prove myself.
Also, his costume is really cool. I like how it has like the propellers and stuff.
Yeah, it pretty much will help out with his quirk.
Yeah, because he can use wind. Like I said, it seems like such a basic power. Oh, you can control wind, but he's so creative with it, and that makes it so awesome.
Oh yeah, when we meet other characters from their school, which is Shingetsu High, Shiketsu.
Yeah,
That's
Shiketsu. Shiketsu.
we actually get to meet another one of those students that has a very interesting quirk as well. And next week's episode hopefully shows that.
Yep.
And you know what I'm talking about, Jay. And manga readers should know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's gonna be fun. Like I said, I really enjoyed this arc. I honestly think this arc, when you're comparing kind of tournament style things, was better than the sports festival.
Mm.
It's actually a pretty unpopular opinion in the MHA fandom. A lot of people just have so much love for the sports festival, which I understand, but I liked the provisional license exam better.
And so far, I'm really enjoying the 9 Precepts of Death arc over what they did with Stain and other introductions to villains.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason, I just like Chisaki as the primary antagonist for this arc.
Chisaki he's pretty cool, man, and like just his design in general is awesome. Who doesn't like the Plague Doctor mask?
And plus, I cannot wait to see that arc in particular get animated because we get introduced to a lot of different characters.
Yep, and they're big players, man. And just a slight spoiler. I won't say who, but we do get in that arc, which is going to be next season. We get introduced to the big 3 of UA, and they are ridiculous.
Yeah, they are fucking crazy.
It's crazy. I'm excited.
But anyway,
yeah, I'm always excited to talk about My Hero Academia.
Oh, and now I'm completely excited for it too because reading not only the manga itself, I'm also reading Vigilantes, which is
Vigilantes is surprisingly a lot better than I expected it to be.
And you know what? It's also a spin-off. Like it's a prequel.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's like 5 or so years before the events of the main series.
Mm-hmm.
And it also this is the series that shows Stain as a vigilante.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I really like it, especially because we get to see kind of the earlier histories of the teachers. I think that's always pretty cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we also get to see essentially this world's Batman be a crazy badass.
Yep.
But I think that's going to end it all here. So join us next week for another episode of Weeb Warriors. Hopefully Jordan might have enough time to join us and he's not so busy. But
yep.
And hopefully Jay gets caught up with all the shows that he needs to watch. And we'll see.
And I might actually add a couple too, because there have been a couple I've been checking out that I really like that I will, talk to the guys off camera about. Because yeah,
for me, I might have like at least one more show, like one or two more shows that I want to add, but we will talk about that off camera. So join us next week. If we've added more shows or not, you will find out next week. So this has been Serpentine 451, aka Tony, along with Mr. J of Mr. J's Comic Book Reviews. If you want to plug yourself with what you usually do, Jay, you can.
Yeah, so just to breeze through it, channels Mr. J's Reviews, and I cover a wide variety of stuff: music, movies, comics, TV shows, anime, and manga. Not as much manga now because I don't get as much interaction from the manga reviews because I'm not one of the heavily already established manga review channels, which is fine. I like talking about manga in general, so I don't mind just commenting on those reviews and like getting conversations out of that. So that's cool. But in terms of like stuff I'm reviewing, basically all this, all the superhero shows, Cloak and Dagger, the Castle Rock show that's based in the Stephen King universe is, one that I'm covering as well. That one's really good. And a bunch of other stuff. If you want to follow what I do, be sure to follow me on Twitter, also at Mr. J's Reviews. But yeah, wide variety of stuff. I got a little something for everybody. So if you are, like I always say, if you are a nerd of any shape, size, or fashion, choose your fandom, and I'm pretty sure I cover it.
All right. See you guys later.
Peace.